it's Natalia and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I had a request to do my experience with finding my clinical dental board patient and how I studied for my National Dental Hygiene Board. So if you are new here and don't know, I have been a dental hygienist for 3 years at this point. Obviously, it would be a little bit hard for me to speak on how things are going to be this year right now with the coronavirus going on, because I'm pretty sure clinical boards are not going on right now. I'm not sure about written boards. So I know there's going to be a few delays with students that are already in the program. So if that is affecting you, everything happens for a reason. Everything will be alright. So I just want to throw a couple things out there before I get started on the specific topic of the video. I actually went to the best dental hygiene school in the state, and I really feel like I got my money's worth out of my education. I was well prepared for my written exam and my clinical exam. 100%. I felt confident after I left both tests that I passed. So I think that's a really important thing to remember, because I think in the state of South Carolina there's about 9 schools maybe, and you probably have like a general tuition rate across all of them, but you really want to make sure that you are getting the most value out of your time in dental hygiene school, because it is really important. So I can say for sure that our teachers were really honest. Like, we had strict rules, like no nail polish, no piercings, like everything was super professional in clinic. We were professional, maybe not some of the staff all the time, but they were really honest. Like, if you failed a test, you had to retake it. Like, they wanted to make sure that we knew the information before we went any further. So at the end of our first 2 semesters, we had a first year comp. So if you didn't pass that, then you had to retake the first 2 semesters before you could go into the summer semester. So that was really important, because if you already can't remember information from the first 2 semesters, there's no way that you're going to remember it after 5 semesters. So I think that is really important, and I'm really glad that they did that. And then in our second year, they made us do a mock board, and we had to get at least a 75%, and that counted towards our grade as well. Some of my classmates really studied for that, but I kind of wanted to see where I was before I started studying for the board. So I didn't study going into it. I was just hoping that I got at least a 75, and I think I passed like really close to that line. So I was like, all right, I need to buckle down and start studying, because I cannot be almost passing, almost failing on my real national board, because I do not have like $500 to retake this test. So another thing that they made us do that I'm not sure how they are going to be doing it this year, but they made us go to the dental hygiene seminar. So I live in South Carolina, and this seminar was in Atlanta, Georgia for the weekend. So basically they had a bunch of speakers go over each topic that is going to be on the board, and then you get this book. So let's see, so basically I would highlight different topics. I would add in written notes if the speaker gave us like an easier way or like a trick to remember a certain topic, or if they said like you will definitely need to know this, then I highlighted it in a specific color and I put like a sticky tab so that I could come back to this page. So also after this seminar, one of our teachers would give us this board study tracker, and she wanted us to study like a certain number of hours each week. I'm pretty sure she gave it to us like 2 months before the board, and that's not really my type of studying, so I wouldn't like hardcore study. I just kind of like skim through and like read through a chapter in the book. But the week before my actual board, I was on spring break, so I didn't have school. And so I would study, I think like 2 or 3 chapters out of this book. And this is going to be different for everyone because people have different study habits and learning styles. But basically, I would read it, and then the things that I wanted to remember that I obviously didn't know that well, I would write them down. And then after I had all my written notes from the chapter that I read, then I would just reread those notes. And that's how I studied the best. I know there were some of my classmates that wanted to know everything 100%, but at the end of the day, you don't get a specific score for the written board. You get a pass or a fail. So you really don't know if you got 90% or if you got 80% or 99%. Like, you don't know what you got. You got a pass or you got a fail. So in my head, the type of student that I want to know the information, but I'm not going to stress myself out trying to know every single detail of every single thing. Like, as long as I have a good overview understanding, then I'm confident that I will pass the topic. So that was me. If you want to know every single word, you study this book. But if you're like me, you get your general overview, you're confident in that information. Either way, both the students are going to pass. So this topic right here, community dental health. So this class was in my last semester. It was like my last class of the day, and I'm checked out. Like, it was what it was. I was checked out for this class. So as I'm studying, like, there's a pretty good amount of information in this chapter, but I was not going to stress myself out trying to relearn a whole semester that I was barely confident enough as it was. So my logic was, if I am confident in all the other topics, then there's no way that me not knowing one specific topic would bring my score down that much. So Natalia did not stress herself out trying to learn about community dental health. So take my advice with a grain of salt. If you know it and you learned it in school proficiently, then good. But Natalia was checked out at the last class of the day in my last semester, so I knew going into it that I was not going to do well on these. I already knew that, so once I got to the test, click, 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 all right. If you're currently in dental hygiene school, leave a comment down below and tell me if you guys are doing like the weekend seminars, or obviously they're most likely canceled, so are you doing webinars or Zoom calls, or is that just canceled and you're just getting the book? Let me know, because I want to know, so drop it in the comments down below. And the part 2 of this was, how did I find my clinical board patient? So in the beginning of dental hygiene school, my teacher told us, all of you are going to cry at some point during this program. So me, I was pretty tough. Like, there was one specific incident in clinic where I just got frustrated. I was probably on my period or something, and I just started crying because I was frustrated because I couldn't get my hand placement right, and that was fine. Then the second time that I cried was trying to find a dental board patient. So I had to be the oddball out. I was the only person in my class that took the CDCA exam. Everyone else took credits because it was given through the school. So yeah, they got it lucky. They got to have their clinical exam in our clinic, so they were familiar with where everything was. But you know me, I had to be difficult. I thought I was going to move to New York after I graduated. I wanted to leave. I wanted to be a traveling hygienist. And here I am. So I already knew that I had to travel to take my board exam. So I found a couple patients in clinic during my regular semester, and I would say, hey, like, you have a lot of qualifying buildup. You could potentially be a board patient, but mine is not going to be at the school. Mine is going to be at a different location. And a couple people told me no, which is understandable. I can't force someone to go somewhere else with me so that they can be my board patient. So I would say okay, and I would give them to my other classmates. So be nice to your classmates, because at the end, when you need a board patient, they're probably going to be the ones to help you out. So I know for sure that I gave away 2 specific patients that I had in clinic. I found board patients, but I didn't find my board patient at those specific clinic times. So it's getting closer to my board. It's probably like April-ish, and there was a couple times a week where you could stay after school hours to screen patients. So these are patients that never came into clinic before. They just either saw a sign or saw like a Facebook post that we were looking for board patients. So people would come in and we would basically just take the Explorer, go around, see how the buildup was, and either tell them that they qualified for a board patient or tell them that they did not qualify for a board patient, and they could just come back into clinic and have a regular cleaning done. I stayed for pretty much all of the after school screenings. None of the patients that I saw qualified. People found their own board patients because my classmates' board was actually before my board. So every board patient that we found pretty much had to go to them. So then my friend is like, hey, I have this girl. I'm thinking like it was a week before my exam at this point. Like pretty close to a week until my exam, and I didn't have a board patient. So we're doing the screening and my friend is like, hey, I have this girl and I told her that your board is not going to be at the school, but she's willing to travel with you. Like, come check. So I go and explore around, and she definitely has the buildup. And I was like, okay, so I got one of my clinical faculty to come over and check. And then my clinical faculty, goes around with the Explorer, feels everything, and then I guess notices that her gums are pretty inflamed. So then she goes in and starts probing. So I think she told me to do like a full mouth probe on her. So I went in, I did that, and then for your board patient, you want to have pockets under 5 because you don't want to be disqualified. But like the average pocketing that this girl had was like a 6 to 7, and the faculty member who was in there helping me was like, I don't want you to bring her to your board and for you to be disqualified because her pockets are too deep, and then you'll just automatically be disqualified at the beginning of your exam and you'll have to pay like over $900 again. So we go back and tell her that actually she needs to see a periodontist, but she was actually moving from South Carolina in a couple weeks from then. So yeah, so then she leaves and it's the end of that screening period, and I just start crying because I did not have a board patient, and that was our last like group screening. So then my program director tells me that I can come in for screenings the next week after my exams on Monday and Tuesday, but I think graduation was on a Wednesday. But on Wednesday, since I was graduating, I would not be considered a student anymore. So if I didn't find a board patient on Monday or Tuesday, I'd have to pay to like rent the clinic since I wasn't a student anymore. So I put out another post on Facebook. Hey guys, I'm trying to take my dental hygiene clinical board. If anyone hasn't had a cleaning in a while, please message me. I would love to screen you, and like it would be a free cleaning for you, something like that. So Monday I go, I screen, nobody qualifies. Like, they were too light. Like, even these people told me they didn't have cleanings for like a couple years, and they like barely had any buildup. So I was like, I'll be disqualified because there's not enough buildup here. So I am very stressed. So then I put out another post on Facebook, then I told my dad, and he was like, screen my friend. And I was like, what? Like, literally not telling me anything. He's just like, screen my friend. So I think I had like a couple people off Facebook. I screened them first. They didn't qualify. So then I bring my dad's friend back, and I go in with the Explorer, and it's like bump, 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 bump. And I'm like, I was like in shock. I was like, this is perfect. Like, he has buildup everywhere. And so then I go in with my probe, and I do a full mouth probe on him, and his pockets were literally perfect. They were like, probably 4 was the max, but he had so much buildup in between his teeth. I was like, oh my goodness. So then I take the x-rays on him, and you can clearly see the buildup in between his teeth on the x-rays. That is how I found my board patient. I found my board patient on a Tuesday, and my clinical exam was on a Friday in Greenville, which is an hour and a half away. So I was super nervous because I obviously didn't go to that school, and I didn't know what their clinic looked like or how anything was. But that clinical board experience during the test, that is a whole nother crazy story in itself. So my advice to people looking for board patients is, don't cancel anyone out. Like, invite everyone to come into your clinic so you can screen them. Even if someone doesn't want to be your specific board patient, you can always give them to someone else, and your friends will be on the lookout for board patients for you as well. So I know as a student, I waited most of the time to do things at the last minute, but I really tried not to wait to find my board patient, but it just happened at the last second. I wouldn't really recommend doing that, but I literally went to so many screenings. I found my friend's board patients. So yes, that's my advice. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. If you have not already, make sure you are subscribed to my channel down below. If you have any other specific dental hygiene topics, I would love to make videos about them. Just leave them in the comments down below. I know some other people have commented, make dental hygiene videos, and that statement is slightly broad, so just specify a topic for me down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.